Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream. Welcome to the program. I'm going to do your spiritual principle a day for July 18th. I hope you're having a wonderful morning. We're more than halfway through the month of July. So we want to get it together. If we're still working on something, we need to go ahead and get it done because soon July will have passed. The next thing we know, it'll be Christmas. So you guys, let's get it today, okay? Good morning to you. All right, the title of your spiritual principle day in a meditation, growth takes vulnerability. I have to sigh. This sounds like it's going to be deep, so roll your sleeves up and let's focus, okay? Growth takes vulnerability. By asking for help, we can change. Sharing is risky at times, but by becoming vulnerable, we are able to grow. That comes from the basic text, chapter 9, just for today, living the program, one of my favorite chapters. As kids, some of us became completely self reliant out of necessity because the people and institutions meant to care for and help us consistently let us down. That skill got us through our using days until it didn't. Others of us definitely sought help when we were using, but it wasn't to assist us in our growth. The help we wanted was for feeding our addiction and often put us in risky situations. We were vulnerable, but not safe. The act of coming to NA is an admission that we need help. But are we thinking of our personal and spiritual development as we drag our butts into our first meeting? For most of us, the answer would be a resounding no. We just want to stop using. A member shared, asking for help was not an option. That meant I was weak, a whiner, a loser. I could be retaliated against, humiliated, rejected, or abandoned, because that's what happened when I showed vulnerability out there. Sharing in recovery does pose some risk. Rejection is possible and real. We expose ourselves to feeling shame and guilt. And who wants to experience any of that? Sometimes the risk is about accountability. Like if we tell someone what we're contemplating or feeling, then we might have to do something about it. However, withholding and going it alone makes us less safe. We become more fearful. Our isolation intensifies. And then acting out and seem like a good idea. As we grow in recovery, the pain we experience from isolating or acting out eventually outweighs the pain of sharing what's going on with us. Our experience of sharing with other members demonstrates that overall, we find acceptance, support, and love. We learn that it takes courage to be vulnerable. Our desire to grow as recovering addicts eclipses our fears of feeling exposed. I will assess what I may be concealing and where I'm afraid of being vulnerable. I may not make the choice to ask for help today, but I know I'm safer if I do. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. I don't know where I went. It seemed like I was daydreaming as we were taking a moment of silence, but I was thinking about interaction that I had with a recovering individual yesterday. Um, and I could tell that they wanted to share something, but they weren't sure if they could. They were just trying to get a feel for me, whether or not they could trust me. And I've never shared anything that my sponsees have shared with me on that level. So they're not my sponsee though, right? So I get it. And you're trying to figure out, should I take this risk of being vulnerable for growth? Because we've been vulnerable for a bunch of other things. And so I let them work themselves through that. And I decide, you know what? Well, go ahead for their benefit, right? And it relates to the topic. Go ahead and give them one of those 1 minute stories you have filed in your history. Go ahead and tell them one of those. They used to be deep, dark secrets. They're not deep, dark secrets anymore. They've been dealt with. But go ahead and pull it out. Pull it out of your reservoir and share this with them. Right. Hit them with that. So I took about a minute, maybe two, and I shocked them. Right. I hit them with some of my own stuff, very similar to what I sensed that they wanted to share about. And then I waited because now, see, I've taken a risk. I become vulnerable with you. I wouldn't say necessarily for my own growth because I've already grown from being vulnerable with that, right? I was able to pull it out and use it as my experience, strength, and hope as needed. So maybe for your growth, right? But I've become vulnerable with you so that growth can happen. And kind of for mine, because if you begin to trust me, then I grow too, because now I have another person in my network where the feeling of trust is mutual. So growth for me as well. And so I'll go ahead and I share this 2 minutes tops because I really don't have a lot of time. I got another client coming and I go ahead and I share this. If you could see the look of gratitude in that person's eyes, I still see the tears starting. I see their eyes going from, you know, half open to completely open in shock. I see the white in their eyes start to turn, moist with tears and red. I see that first teardrop that they wipe away quickly. And I hear their words. Wow, you've been through a lot. Makes what I've been through seem like nothing. And I stopped them right there and I said, pain is pain. Your pain does not have to come close to what my pain is. Pain is pain. Pain is relevant to the individual and how they're experiencing it. So I wouldn't compare your pain to my pain because, it could flip flop, right? One day my pain could seem higher than yours, more dramatic than yours, and then the next day, depending on where I'm at, yours could seem more intense than mine. I said I didn't share that with you for that. I shared that for you to know that I'm trustworthy. If you ever want to talk, just let me know. The problem was is that so much time had been taken now and them trying to figure out whether or not they wanted to be vulnerable that I was pretty much out of time. I was able to hear what they wanted to say and I was able to make an appointment with them and let them know we're going to sit down and we're really going to talk. We're going to take this hour and we're really going to talk, and so that is beautiful to me. All right. And so that's what we're talking about. How vulnerable we used to be. And it wasn't for growth. It was dangerous. We were in, I just shared about risky situations. right? Being in risky situations. We were vulnerable, but not safe. And to me, that's what we're talking about when we say that we would go to any lengths. We went to any lengths out there. And so now we come into the program and we want to pick and choose. And, I can't share that. And okay, you shared everything out there. You didn't pick and choose out there. You went with wherever the next high was coming from. But yet you want to get into the program. We all do it. We want to get into the program and suddenly become so reserved. Excuse me, I can't share that with you. Okay. Well, it says in here, basically, in so many words, that when we become tired of that pain that we're experiencing, we will become willing to share it. Let me highlight it because it says it in different words, but it's very nice, right? When we talk about, well, when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change, then you will change. We say that all the time. So listen to how it puts it in this. It says, as we grow in recovery, the pain we experience from isolating or acting out eventually outweighs the pain of sharing what's going on with us. To me, that's saying the same thing. When the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, we change. So today, let's commit to becoming vulnerable to one another for the purpose of growth. Go ahead and assess what we're concealing and where we're afraid of being vulnerable. Think about it. Because if you think about it in advance of the next meeting or the next interaction you have with your sponsor, your brain will already be ready to address it and not run, not back away. Because you have thought about it, it won't be such an impact to let it come out of your mouth and talk about it. The science has proven that when we go over something over and over, it becomes less uh, of a shock to our system, I guess is the way I want to put it. We become desensitized to whatever that pain is, whatever that issue is or anxiety is, when we allow ourselves to think intentionally about it and vocalize what it is we want to convey about it. Some people say rehearse. I'm not suggesting we rehearse our share. I'm suggesting that we take the time to assess what it is we're concealing and what we're afraid of being vulnerable and sort that out in our own brains. Okay, so what that looks like for me. What that looks like for me. I am assessing and concealing something. What would that be? Okay, so not you might find you're not obsessing and concealing anything. You just don't have a willingness to be vulnerable with someone in the rooms or your sponsor. Okay, so uh, I know that I deal with body dysmorphia, whether I'm super skinny, super healthy in the moment, or I'm super overweight. I know that I am very conscientious of my body image. That sometimes can prevent me from interacting socially. Not because I won't show up to the event, but because I've spent so much time going through my clothes, hours sometimes, that by the time I'm ready to get to the event, it's almost over. I waste a lot of time trying to make sure that I'm presentable in my mind, that I look the way I want to look. Okay. So that's something that a lot of people don't know about me, and I don't share in the rooms about it. But yesterday, I did, right? Yesterday, I took a chance on being vulnerable for growth and I shared it. I think I was talking about some fake eyelashes that I was tempted to put on and how I had to really weigh that out. So now, yesterday, I brought it up. I was vulnerable. I put it on the tables, how it's affecting me mentally. I put my solution on the table. And here I am again today, sharing it with a lot more ease. Now, that's what I'm talking about, okay? Obviously, some of you can't make the connection, like, how does that affect your recovery? It affects my recovery because it affects how frequently I interact with others in person. Okay. So I was talking about that. You may not make the choice to ask for help today, but if you do, I want to make sure you know that you're safer if you do. Because now you have two people at least aware of what's going on, yourself and someone else. But maybe a whole room of people in meetings, and someone's going to say, hey, how'd you handle that? Did everything land on your feet? Everything okay? Right? It kind of cements, it cements our commitment to our own program when we are vulnerable enough to share where we're actually at. It cements it and it makes it something that is in the forefront of your brain, the forefront of your thoughts about what to do to change it. At least, at the very least, I think that is what we get out of this. My name is Maddie Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you today. I want for you to have a beautiful day on purpose. I intend to, and I will. I'm planning on talking to you tomorrow. Take care.